Hi everybody, I wanted to begin this objection with an important, advisory, and that is that the first question you want to ask when somebody says, I have an agent looking around for me, is to ask them whether or not they're under contract with a buyer's agent at this time and whether or not they have representation. Because if they do, stop. Because if you don't, it's a license law violation. You're involved in an unwarranted interference in another agent's business activities, and simply do not do that. Don't try to coach them out of that. If they say, I hate this guy's guts, fine. Then you need to tell them that I understand if you have an interest in terminating that relationship, you should reach out to that person, and when and if that happens, I can talk to you about representation, but in the meantime, I really can't. So play it straight, okay? It's important. Okay, hi everybody. We're doing some more objections, and this one, we're moving into what we call the buyer objections right now. And the first one is, I have an agent looking around for me. It might be, I already have an agent. It might be my brother-in-law's in the real estate business, something like that. So if you get an objection like this, and I'm just going to take it as I have an agent looking around for me, the first thing I would say is well, that's terrific. You have somebody that you really trust. I'm delighted to hear that. Can I ask if you're satisfied with the service you're receiving? And then just ask a few questions about how it's going, that sort of thing, build a little bit of rapport. And then if I was in that situation, I might say, well, tell me a little bit about how you're financing. Do you have any questions about mortgages, anything like that at all? And if they say, well, yeah, we are going to go to a lender, say, well, there's 82 lenders in our area, and some of them have the highest interest rates and costs, and some of them have obviously the lowest. And sometimes selecting a lender is a process that can make or save you money by lowering the amount of cash that you have to devote to purchasing a home. It might get you a better rate, it might get you a better payment, and in some cases it might enable you to buy $10,000 to $20,000 more house. I understand that you have a friend in the business, but I'd be happy to grab some coffee with you and chat about some of the financing opportunities that are out there. The other thing you could say to them is another version of apples and oranges, which would be to say to them, it's great you've got somebody you like. I know, you're probably very happy with that. But what I'd like to do, if I could, is to have you do a little comparison shopping to show you what I have to offer you in terms of professional representation. And you can compare and contrast that with what you have on the table right now. And you may find you love your friend forever and you want to work with them, or you may decide this is the close. You may decide you have two friends in the real estate business, and you may decide you want to work with me. So I'd just like an opportunity to throw my hat in the ring and see if I can add some value to the experience for you and make it maybe different and hopefully maybe a little bit better. Part of the services, we have a tremendous package of programs and services for you. And what I like to, this is another close, okay? So, that's apples and oranges. The first one was financing. And the last one I'm just going to talk about is professional representation. And this is important. Stop talking about buyer agency and start talking about professional representation. They have a saying in the real estate business, watch your language, because your language creates vision, it creates color, it creates ideas. And every time you say something, there's not only the meaning of the word, but there's additional things that happen in the mind. And the things that happen when you say commissions aren't nearly as good as fees. And when you talk about buyer agency, that's not nearly as good as professional representation. So think about professional representation. Lawyers don't talk about commissions. They talk about fees. So professionals talk about fees, and I believe professionals also talk about professional representation. Sorry, I didn't mean to beat that one into the ground, but it's important, okay? All right, so I would say part of the programs and services that we have to offer you in a professional representation situation is there's so many. There's financing. We can help you with the financing, as I mentioned. We like to think of it as one-stop shopping. And here's another phrase that is really, really important. Why? Because I think it's important? No, because when consumers were surveyed, clients and customers were surveyed, the number one thing they wanted from you was everything. They wanted you to handle it all. They wanted everything and anybody to be handled by you. Everything from the financing, to the contract, to working with the other agent, to coordinating with their attorney, coordinating with the title company. They want somebody who's going to bring the whole package together and present it to them and just let them, just basically tell them what to do, provide them with the guidance necessary to make this as pleasant an experience as possible. The average person saves for years to create this kind of an event in their life. It's a major life event. Maybe they've been living in their home for 15 years and scraped by, and now they want to upgrade. This is a big deal to the average person. And it's very, very reassuring to them that you're saying, I'm going to take care of all the drama and all the trauma, and I'm going to be there for you, and I'm going to make sure that this works the way that it should. So those are some ideas for you. The first one, are you satisfied with the services you're receiving? Talk to them about financing alternatives. The four that I mentioned are lower payment, lower cash formation, a better interest rate, and the fourth one is any combination of those may actually create a situation where you buy more house for the same payment. So those are some thoughts that you might want to know off the top of your head about financing. And most important, you got to know your value, because if you know your value, you can communicate your value. Use the idea of a second opinion to get an appointment with them. And last but certainly not least, talk about one-stop shopping. It's music to their ears. It's what they want from you. Thanks. That's it for this one.